I'd like to recognize Colonel Norton for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, members of the subcommittee. It's indeed an honor to be here today and an opportunity to present the views of the Veterans Education Success. I'd also like to say, Mr. Chairman, that it's a distinct honor to be among today's young warriors and veterans here at this panel. It really is a special opportunity for me to be with them. VES is a nonprofit organization that provides free counseling and legal assistance to students using their GI Bill, and we work to advance higher education success for all military-affiliated students. The subcommittee today is undertaking critical, common-sense solutions to stop waste, fraud, and abuse under the GI Bill. In our view, the very integrity of the GI Bill is under attack. Defrauded student veterans have lost their one shot at their hard-earned GI Bill. This unacceptable situation is compounded by the fact that the Department of Veterans Affairs claims to lack statutory authority to act on behalf of the veterans they are sworn to serve. Earlier this year, for example, the Education Department cut off Argosy University for stealing federal student aid funds, but VA officials said they lacked authority to protect GI Bill funds. A few years ago, the Justice Department won a $200 million judgment from a college chain for defrauding millions of students and sent the executives of another college to jail for defrauding the Education Department. Also, earlier this year, 49 states joined together to recover $500 million from a college that had defrauded tens of thousands of veterans. Veterans indeed are understandably angry when they learn that a college that defrauded them remained approved for the GI Bill, even though other government agencies had cut it off. Taxpayers are outraged when they read news of GI Bill funds continuing to flow to schools sued by the Justice Department or raided by the FBI with the college president behind bars. The VA Inspector General concluded last December that 86% of state-approving agencies, quote, did not adequately oversee the education and training programs, and, quote, VBA could not provide reasonable assurance that post-9/11 GI Bill benefits were paid to eligible schools or that students received quality education and training, end quote. The VA IG estimated the VA will waste $2.3 billion over the next 5 years in GI Bill funds going to schools that should not be approved for the GI Bill. With this backdrop, VA is grateful the subcommittee today is considering legislation to support better outcomes for our veterans. Of the 9 bills before the subcommittee today, I would like to focus on a few for your consideration. The Student Veterans Empowerment Act requires risk-based oversight of colleges that are sued by the federal government for misleading students. We encourage the subcommittee to consider additional forms of action that should trigger a careful check by state-approving agencies of a school's worthiness to receive the GI Bill, as outlined in our written testimony, such as, for example, when a state agency halts new enrollment, as the Texas Workforce Commission did after finding American Technical College had filed false job placement numbers. We commend you, Mr. Chairman, for the draft Principles of Excellence Bill and Section 3 of the Student Veteran Empowerment Act, both of which would align the VA with the Departments of Defense and Education and giving VA authority to take action against schools that violate the VA Principles of Excellence. We urge the subcommittee to merge the best features of both bills. VES also feels strongly that student veterans should have the same rights as their non-veteran peers. For example, student veterans should be able to recover their hard-earned GI Bill when their school closes. We thank the subcommittee for considering legislation that, for example, in Section 2 of the Student Veterans Empowerment Act would accomplish that purpose. We also thank the chairman for his draft bill to give the VA the same letter of credit authority that the Education Department has long used to protect student veterans using Title IV funds. Our written testimony provides more detail on the draft legislation being considered today. For over 20 years, I've had the honor to testify before this subcommittee on GI Bill-related issues. And on behalf of Veterans Education Success and my fellow veterans, I look forward to your continuing bipartisan commitment to those who have worn our nation's uniform. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Colonel. Appreciate your feedback, your support, and your service.